Well, it is said that countries that do not understand the importance of data management are less likely to survive in the modern economy. And it is believed that data of a country stands as its most valuable assets. Data is the foundation of a country's information, knowledge, and ultimately the wisdom for correct decisions and actions. If data of a country is relevant, complete, accurate, and meaningful and actionable, it will help in growth of the country economically. If not, it can prove to be a harmful asset. The impact of accurate data management towards national development cannot be overemphasized, as its accessibility and efficiency will lead to exponential growth, which will enable government's developmental agenda more strategic, result-oriented, and impactful. I have with me in the studio live to look at how we can address data management tactics in the country. He's a technology team coach, professional. I call him an IT expert, Mr. Idowu Akinde. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a while.
Hi,
Good to have you on the show.
Same here.
Yeah, first, data management. It seems at this time, aside from the NBS, that we get data and all of that from, how well would you say Nigeria is doing with regards to data management?
All right, so I'll be a bit lenient.
Okay, please do.
I'll say that it's a mix of both. We are not where we should be, but we are not where we used to be, right? Businesses today are starting to have a more positive posture and attitude towards, first of all, technology generally, and second, data, right? People are now interested in how they can use the insights that can be gotten from data to tailor the services they are providing, to tailor the experiences they are giving to their customers, and so on and so forth. So our collective attitude as a nation is getting better, but we still have some distance to go. All right.
When we say distance to go, we see the contribution of ICT, despite the fact that we're not taking full advantage. I thought when there was a rebasing thing, that we saw the contribution of information technology and also how well, when are we really going to start getting the positives from ICT? Because as a country, well, like you said, we're not doing very badly, but we need to take advantage of this, particularly at this time when we need to look away from oil.
Okay, so I mentioned sometime about a few months ago on a similar forum to this that COVID-19 was a blessing in disguise, right? And there are a number of reasons why I said so. I know the kinds of friction, the kinds of resistance that myself and my colleagues in the IT space have faced trying to convince organizations to go digital. COVID-19 came and nobody had a choice, right? Everybody had to start thinking creatively about how to get digital, right? So again, there's a silver lining in the cloud, right? That's on the business side. On the individual side, right? Just like the esteemed gentleman said just a few moments ago, it has opened up the globe, right? The kinds of collaboration requests that I, sitting in Lagos, Nigeria, get these days from all over the world is literally mind-blowing because people all over the world have started to think, with this new universal access to talent, there's nothing stopping a Toronto, Canada-based organization or a Singapore-based organization or a Beijing-based organization from working with a Nigeria, Lagos, Calabar-based programmer or data analyst or product manager. Absolutely nothing. So those things are, of course, I'm very, very alive to the pains that it has brought to many, many businesses, many, many sectors and similar sectors and many other sectors. But there are silver linings that we can capture and run with. So back to your question about going the distance. I would advocate that our next steps, our next actions should be around consolidating on what are the gains that we've achieved in this COVID-19 period, quote unquote, and how can we push those things how can we push those things forward?
Forward, right? Yeah. And now I was putting it out. I was thinking that infrastructure is also something now, because just like, for example, let's look at power. When you have steady power supply, before now, when you have maybe 20 hours, 15 hours, you hear there's something wrong with the transformer, you hear there's something wrong with the lines and all of that. How well are we also building infrastructure in the ICT space to be able to take this heat? When we continue, we all want to have meetings online, we want to have the Zoom meetings, we want to have the Skype calls and all of this. How well are we making sure that the infrastructure on ground can manage all of this that we put into it?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. I've also often expressed that some kind of deep analysis into the, if you take the internet service provision sector, the people who provide us Wi-Fi and internet connections, okay, the reasons why we are not getting the quality of internet connection that we should probably be getting, you know, in 2020, right now, is not because we are not getting solid bandwidth of data arriving on our shores. Okay. What happens many times is that that entire industry has identified that they need some more investment, right? So, for instance, you have take a main one, for instance. I don't want to mention brands.
No, go ahead.
But take a main one, for instance.
Go ahead.
A main one has often, you know, the MD of main one has often expressed publicly that there's a huge amount of data bandwidth that arrives onshore in Nigeria, right? So that's supply. There's also a huge amount of demand, which is people like you and I with our devices and our lifestyles, our data consumptive lifestyles, also on this other side. But there is a gap in the middle. The quote-unquote, the infrastructure in the middle that enables that huge supply to meet with a huge command is missing. And what is missing is just finance. It's just investment to quote-unquote, accelerate developments in that sector. So yes, of course, they are doing the best they can, but there needs to be more and more investment. Foreign investment, local investment, as long as we can get people to finance projects that would achieve what is called in that space the last mile. Okay, so that's IT, that's internet infrastructure. Now, when it comes to IT, infrastructure is kind of twofold, right? And you've mentioned them. There's power and there's internet. Okay, now power is slightly tricky because when we think on the surface about power, we complain a lot about Nigeria doesn't have 24/7, 24-hour supply of power and so on and so forth. I can tell you that there are many countries who have a higher reputation who don't have 24 hours, right? But what happens is there is a dependability, there is a schedule that you can plan with, okay? Even if your power sector promises you that our SLA, at service level agreement to you, is to give you 18 hours per day or 12 hours per day. Okay. Then you know that 12 hours will be either split in 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, or 12-hour block, and then you can plan based on it. When people have that kind of mindset, everybody can say, okay, I will sleep in the morning and work at night because I will have power at night. Right? Yeah. You generally modify your lifestyle. Yeah, true. So that's the first thing. Second thing is availability of power. The amount of megawatts.
But some people think that anything that has to do with data management is limited to information technology sectors just alone. Tell us how well, because I've read about this and I see that truly it can impact on almost all sectors of the economy.
Okay. So data management is one of those topics that is slightly deceptive. Like you said, people often associate it with IT. But first of all, it has nothing to do with IT, right? Well, let me say it has nothing to do with that. At a fundamental level, it goes beyond IT. Data management essentially is about collecting and managing information and data that is collected from natural human activities, right? Whether we are living in villages and there is some kind of olden days secretary or a scribe who is recording our history on tablets, right? In hieroglyphics, in symbols and hieroglyphics, okay? Whether it's back in the day or it's modern day where we now have writing systems, paper and even electronic systems. At the end of the day, there is a philosophy to thinking about the value of keeping records, and that's what data management is about, right? Data management forces us to ask some questions, right? I won't mention any specific bank, but I can tell you that the average Nigerian bank has about between 220 and 240 disparate applications deployed at any point in time, from legacy Cold Fusion applications. Those that know what Cold Fusion means will smile. It's a really, really old technology, to the newer kinds of applications. The implication of such complexity of a technology landscape is that vendor A, perhaps Oracle, comes and deploys their own application. Vendor B, perhaps Tableau, comes and deploys their own application. Vendor C comes and deploys their own application. What you have at the end of the day is that you have 220 individual databases. Therefore, a unified data management, an effective data management philosophy will let you consolidate all of those things and address your own internal questions about how you want to manage your data first, so that no matter the vendor that comes, they plug into your own internal data management strategy, structure, process, rather than creating individual islands that will give you further headaches in the future. That's why sometimes with some of our service providers, banks, telcos, you register with a certain number. That number is available for USSD, but it's not available for internet banking, because those are different. But to you, the customer, they shouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be different.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. Right. I think I get that clarity. No, but as beautiful as it looks, the issue of security always comes in. We heard a lot about hacking all of the while. Even during the COVID-19, some banks were exposed, but I think they were able to quickly address all of this. What would you say about the security of our cyberspace?
Okay. Again, like the question about attitude to data.
Yes.
We are not where we should be, but we're also not where we used to be. Right. Security-wise, we have a lot to do, and I will rather than spend a lot of time commenting on the technical aspects of security, I'd like to address the more fundamental issue. Nigerians, and by extension, everybody around the planet, everybody around the globe, needs to understand that cybersecurity is first of all a psychology problem. It's first of all a human problem before it is a technical problem. Technically speaking, there is no IT system that cannot be hacked, right? But relax. What people do in cybersecurity is that they implement features or structures that make it so difficult, right, and therefore a natural deterrent for someone that wants to hack into such a system, right? Therefore, the more important thing is people need to adjust their behaviors, practices. We need to remember. I always like to use this analogy. If you think about a dashboard, right, your dashboard, your speedometer, there's a minimum end and there's a maximum end. Cybersecurity is like that. On one end is convenience, on the other is security. Whenever you move more and more towards security, you are giving up on convenience. And whenever you move more and more towards convenience, you are giving up on security. So once people understand this, what it actually means is that with all of the convenience that we have today with global emails, global cloud platforms, we are giving up something about ourselves, because someone who, for instance, wants to create a fake copy of your online identity, like I was a victim of. Okay, yeah, that's the story for another day, right? Someone who needs to do that, all they need to do is study everything that you've put out there about yourself. So every time you put something out, there's a trade-off, right? So I always advise people, if you are maintaining an online profile to boost your business, keep it about business.
Good.
Try and keep your children out of those online pictures, because you never know who is really thinking malicious, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of I would rather talk about the psychological / behavioral aspects of cybersecurity than the technical aspects,
Now, almost finally, I'm not looking at fintech and even all of that in that space. You see bankers coming out to say that's one of the best things that have happened to the banking industry and all of this. Would you agree to that?
Of course, I agree.
You agree?
I'm a big proponent.
But there are a lot of challenges when that has to still do with it in this part of the world. How soon are we going to get to that point where we'll be so relaxed when we go online to do anything? I must tell you personally, I limit myself to what I do online, sincerely, because you need to be very careful. But when I have to do it, I have to do it. But I try to also. So when are we going to get to that point where we could say, let's project.
Okay.
When are we going to get to that where we can be so sure that we're safe to do whatever we want to do online? We need to harness the potential of the ICT sector. It's very important. The central bank is even on it. National Theatre will have an ICT hub. You know, I'm sure you are aware of that. So what are you looking at?
So again, harping back on the behavior thing.
Yeah.
There are a number of initiatives, specific initiatives by people like the CC Hub, the Co-Creation Hub, some of them sponsored by the CBN, mandating the banks to institute certain policies and certain tools, right, that prevent certain behaviors that would expose, their infrastructure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the specifics of how to get to a 100% secure population, right? It's beyond this kind of discussion, right? We can hack that, back and forth for a long time. But the key thing is there are specific things to do. There's something called Safe Online. I think it's Safe Online. Yeah, powered by the CC Hub, the Co-Creation Hub. And that's one of the things that aims to educate the average ordinary Nigerian on the street about simple cybersecurity mindsets and practices, right, that will keep them safe online.
But let's round up on this just in 1 minute. I was reading earlier this week, and the minister talked about the tariff. There should be a reduction in data tariff. Is that a welcome development to you? So do you expect that to happen? Are we supposed to also pay more for data, like we're paying more for PMS, we're paying more for electricity at this time?
We definitely shouldn't pay more for data. But I would ask for more. Permit me to be Oliver Twist. I would ask for more. I would say beyond mandating tariff cuts, I'd say please give ICT businesses some kind of special tax regime, tax class, tax discounts, rebates, whatever it is, whatever the nomenclature is. Please give. I think, I've mentioned it to you many times that the potential of ICT to bring the kinds of revenues to this country that will replace and even dwarf what oil has brought to us is literally at our fingertips. Again, case in reference, India did $150 billion in outsourced IT revenue in 2019. India and Nigeria are at par on so many demographic levels, right? Income distribution, poverty levels, and stuff like that. There's absolutely no reason why Nigerians cannot do it. I think I know the psyche of the average Nigerian young person on the street, and I know that if this guy or girl were invested in technology skills-wise, I know what they can deliver. So.
Indeed, it's always interesting talking to technology man. He's a technology team coach at Expert Akinde. I must thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. And I know how Lagos roads are. Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.
All right, then.